If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Have not gotten the contingent of Steeler fans just yet, but we do have an Oriole fan. Old school Oriole beat writer. He's long since departed to his hometown of Houston, Texas, where he covers baseball, football, and all things Houston for the Houston Chronicle. We welcome Richard Justice back onto the program. Richard, I've known you these many years. 25 years now. It's 25 years this month.
Yes.
You were at the Baltimore Sun in 1984.
Right, I arrived there in 1984.
1984, and here we are. 2009, still doing sports together. Super Bowl for you. What's the mass media attracted to this week? It's a pretty good matchup, I guess, from a writer's perspective to write about these teams.
Well, you probably have the NFL's best run franchise in the Steelers, and one of the worst run franchises in the Cardinals, and then you have all the overlap. Ken Whisenhunt ended up in Pittsburgh because he wasn't going to get the job. Ended up in Arizona because he wasn't going to get the job in Pittsburgh. And you have lots of Todd Haley has connections there. Grew up a Steelers fan, so it's interesting. The Steelers-Ravens game might have been, and this sort of goes back to the fact that one of the reasons the Cardinals wanted Whisenhunt is they wanted to play Steelers ball. They like the discipline, they like the defensive philosophy that Dick LeBeau teaches, all of that stuff. But one thing you're reminded of is all the old-fashioned principles about playing defense and playing physical still work. And that sort of reminds me, the Steelers-Ravens game might have been the toughest game I've ever seen.
I'm hearing so many writers say that, and
it was like a street fight. And in a lot of when you have that Steelers, Titans, Ravens, those teams, it is when you see a team like the Texans, you watch the Steelers or the Ravens play and you go, oh my gosh, somebody's going to get hurt out there. It is an old school brand of football. Ditka, Lombardi, all those guys. I think they would love the way those teams play.
Texans ever going to get any good down in Houston? Seriously.
I think, like a lot of teams, you're on the cusp of being good. But it's easy to go. It's one thing to go from 2-14 to 8-3, but to take the next step and to be able to play meaningful games in December and win meaningful games in December, that's another story. And then when you see that the Falcons, the Dolphins, and the Ravens make quick turnarounds fairly quickly with a lot of young guys in key positions, including head coach, it does make you wonder.
Well, from my perspective in Houston, I've been down there.
The Astros? The Orioles?
No, come on now.
Andy McPhail's the right guy.
Look, man. We're like Led Zeppelin. We save Stairway to Heaven for the end.
When is Eric Bedard gonna make it? You didn't tell me a couple of things about him.
What about him?
I don't think he's mentally tough. Would that be wrong?
I would say he's a mental midget, as a matter of fact.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But that's Seattle talk at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
But in Houston, I was an Oiler fan, and I followed the tradition of the Astros and all that stuff. I've been down to Houston, I guess 3 times for football. With Super Bowl, the Ravens played down there in their first year, and then went back again this year. And I guess maybe I shouldn't be shocked. I know the legend of college football and the tradition of A&M and Texas, and high school football and Friday Night Lights throughout the entire state of Texas. I didn't realize there was such a Houston-Dallas disconnect, that it's very much like Baltimore, D.C. or whatever, that the people in Houston think the people in Dallas are pretentious and jerks and arrogant and all that good stuff. But I walked through that parking lot that day that you and I hung out about 8 weeks ago in Houston, and I was astonished at the size of the tailgate, the depth and breadth of how much passion there is there for the Texans, that if they were to ever win, it would really be a special thing, I think, for Houston. First off, they have the best logo in the league. I think I think it would be cool to be a Texans fan for whatever reason. I don't think that much.
Even after 7 years.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.